Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cosmic Panel. Today we are going to be ranking the Disney Plus MCU shows. Very short, very simple video. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Comment below your favorite MCU Disney Plus show. Please, please interact with this video. Thank you. Um, Follow us on Instagram at the Cosmic Panel, the Cosmic Panel, uninterrupted. Follow us on eBay to support us there, the.cosmic.panel. Great way to support us. We got lots of conventions coming up as well. We are going to be at the Philly Comic Con at the end of the month. That's April 27th. It's a Sunday from 10 to 4. So we'll be there in person. You can come say hi. You can support us. Anything means a lot. All right, let's jump into the video. Alti and Lukas.
Yeah. So Disney Plus obviously has made a good amount of shows at this point. We thought that um, now would be the time before Daredevil fully comes out and is finished to discuss at least some of them. Okay, let's start with the show that started it all, WandaVision. I think the show is pretty good. I think it's especially in comparison to the later shows. I think it's really good. Um, I think like the only thing that really betrays it is the finale. I think the finale doesn't really land as well as it could, and that's what left a lot of sour, bitter tastes in people's mouths. But I
Yeah.
think like taking it as an overall like thing, like it did really well playing into the sitcom aspect of stuff. There was a good mystery. They got a lot of characterization that she was honestly missing. We got to spend time with Vision. Like it was screen time for characters that we honestly needed, especially after Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really remember liking it just through and through. I don't have a problem with the finale personally. I think the vision to vision dialogue is super cool at that last, fight scene there. I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
ship with
I think
Theseus.
it's in general
Yeah.
very, very well done. Definitely a mind twister the first time. So I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I liked it. I think again, yeah, that last episode was a little rocky, but I don't think it completely ruined the show. I think it just kind of wasn't as good compared to the rest, which was really good.
yeah.
So
I also think like what they do in Doctor Strange has also kind of soured me on it a little bit, but that doesn't take into account for like just basing it off the show. Like basing it off the show, this show does a phenomenal job with Wanda as a character.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd be down
definitely.
to put it in A personally.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
I think so.
Okay, WandaVision is in A. I still don't like
So
the
I'm
name though.
realizing.
I it's insane to me that they didn't go with Scarlet Vision, like or something like that. Like
Well,
if
but
you
they
were gonna
never
do it,
really wanted to. They never really committed to calling her Scarlet Witch. That's the whole fucking thing.
I
It
feel
was for
yeah,
the longest time they refused to because of the Fox properties, and then by the time that we got to just actually, I think they call her that like maybe once or twice by the end of her like arc,
yeah, and it's more
and
of like a
yeah,
title. They're more like, oh,
yeah,
she is the Scarlet Witch instead of like
yeah,
that's her name. It's more of like some like calling Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme.
yeah. I would have
exactly.
also liked it if it was called Divisions, just like
Yeah, that would
very
be
like
cool. Like the
sitcom
comic.
like esque name.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Sitcom
I
ad
feel like
name.
at the time I didn't have as much of a problem with the name, but as it goes on, I mean, we'll see when we get to the other ones. Like most of the show names are just like WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Echo, She-Hulk, and it just kind of at the time I was like,
Well, it's
oh, okay,
She-Hulk
that's
Attorney at
fine.
Law.
Yeah,
that's
okay,
that's
Not they're
that's the
not
full.
very they're not very involved though in
yeah,
general.
they're not very creative. So like at the time I was okay with it, and then it just kind of gets worse the more similar stuff they do. But just like character name.
Yeah.
I'm
Fa-
realizing that they're only having one tile for the shows that have multiple seasons, so I'm just gonna have to take that into account. Go ahead.
yes, we will have to take that into account. I mean, we yeah, we're not basing it off of each individual season. Um, so with Falcon and Winter Soldier, um, I have some problems with the show. I think there's some moments where it's good. I think especially with U.S. Agent, I think his character is really interesting, and I do like some of those moments. To me, though, this felt like it should have been a film, and it should have been half the length that it was. Felt like it was dragged out, and it felt like they were unnecessarily padding for time.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of issues with production going into watching this, so that probably didn't help. But definitely didn't have as much of a lasting impression on me. Um, you know, good action sequences, and that's kind of yeah. And I do remember, some like heavy U.S. agent moments, like when he kills that person or whatever. But yeah, just not as much of a lasting impact.
I think it's better
Yeah.
for Bucky than anyone else, honestly, in like the show.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
I
I
mean,
mean,
there's that
it's
phenomenal
good
moment
for
where
Bucky.
he tells the father of the guy he killed that like he killed the guy, and it's like a whole like character arc, and he's like in therapy. Like I don't know, there's like some really good moments with Sebastian Stan, but like it's just like so forgettable because the show is forgettable.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Is like I have this sense of like, oh, I really like that show, but then I'm trying to think of moments from the show, and I it's hard to like remember them, and so it's like it's not a bad show, but it could be better. And I feel like part of it is like there was so much random stuff going on that while each thing was good, it could never really shine. The stuff with Isaiah, the stuff with U.S. Agent, the there's so much stuff that was like, oh, it was a really good one episode, but then they just didn't stick with it long enough for it to be like a good big storyline.
Yeah, they
that's
didn't want to
fair.
choose a single lane, and it felt like they were more interested in opening plot threads than they were about like exploring a single plot thread and really expanding the characters with that single one.
That's where I think if that was early on when they were like, no, each of the shows is only going to have one season each because they're basically just mini or like longer movies.
Yeah,
And that's definitely one show where I feel like it should have gotten more seasons. Like, do one season on Baron Zemo, do one season on U.S. Agent, do one season on Isaiah Bradley, and then you have time to explore these things and kind of build off each other instead of just look. We only have 2 episodes to do Isaiah Bradley, and then we're gonna have to move on. So we're just gonna have to cram it all at once. It's like spend some more time, make him a real character.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
the fact that like at the end of the show they give a new logo and call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier, like and the Winter Soldier. It's like, oh well, there you go. That could have been like a season two like rename if you really
Yeah,
wanted to go with that. Like call it Falcon and Winter Soldier for the first season, and then when he accepts the Captain America identity, he gets a second season, and then you further explore like Isaiah Bradley and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, definitely because Brave New World was pretty lackluster. That doesn't help, but in general, I feel like the last episode was really cool to see, Sam in action as Captain America, and we didn't really get enough of those repercussions, especially because Brave New World barely touched on that from a political
Yeah.
standpoint or just from a, you know, status standpoint, like to get the shield from Steve Rogers, like that's a big deal.
Also, this started the trend of the whole like, oh yeah, we're only gonna give the costume in the last episode. We're
Fucking
gonna
CWS fucking strategy pisses me off.
so annoying. It's like really obvious, and the costume was great, but it's like, why make such a phenomenal costume if you're only going to show it for the last episode? Like,
Especially if you're gonna change it in the next fucking appearance.
yeah,
yeah. That's what I was
literally,
saying. I was gonna say I didn't see Brave New World, but I remember it being different,
it's
like
way
the outfit
different.
being different, which is like it was a cool outfit, and to have it for 30 seconds. I'm afraid they're gonna do that with Spider-Man, like the end of No Way Home. They do the awesome
Yeah.
comic suit, and then
Yeah,
the next movie he's gonna be back in some crazy ass
I'm
tech suit.
crossing my fingers.
Let's hope not, but yeah, we never know. But I'm willing to
I'm
give it a
feeling a
C,
B.
a B. You think?
I'm
See,
feeling B, but we got to see how it stacks up against everything else.
What do you
yeah,
think, Balti?
I'd be fine putting it in B for now, and then moving it around if we.
Okay,
Because I feel like, yeah, as we go, we're gonna see how some stuff feels.
Okay, so Loki, I think, is just an S. I think it's the best Disney Plus show, period, just all around. I think it's the strongest. Both seasons are phenomenal. The acting's phenomenal. The cinematography is really good. This had the most like world building like aspects out of all the shows. Like this felt like it was actually taking the MCU in a place. Partially because it was building up to Kang, and Kang at the time was being built up to. Uh, and so it to me it was super engaging. And I still think like even now, like even without the Kang stuff, it's still such a phenomenal show. It's basically Marvel's version of a Doctor Who show, weirdly enough, and it's just super engaging.
Yeah, I think that now that it's over, seeing it and really digesting it, it feels like a capsule piece because it doesn't really get touched on, at least yet, or hasn't yet in the MCU. Obviously, it was
Except by
supposed
Deadpool.
to. It was supposed to be, but well, we didn't see Loki though.
True,
We
no,
just
no, no,
saw. We
true.
just saw. It's just now a tool to just throw anybody you want in the fucking void. But anyway, I think it exists really well outside of the MCU. I don't feel as though it's like a super Marvel heavy show. It's not drawing from enough comic book concepts for me to really call it a Marvel show in the end, but it's really really well done, and I think it's super cool if I don't really consider the larger MCU, and it's almost harder to consider the larger MCU because it's just so many leagues above everything else, like just in dialogue and in concept and in a lot of stuff. But it's a fantastic show. I wouldn't argue with an S placement.
What about you,
Yeah,
Balti?
I think, I mean, you guys are gonna yell at me, but I didn't watch the second season. Um, and there's no reason for it other than just I didn't. Um, and I hear good
So
things
Balti's
about it.
banned.
Yeah.
Leave the
Um,
call.
Leave the call now.
yeah, that's the like. I feel like I have no problem being like I didn't watch Secret Wars because like whatever. But
If you had said literally for any of these shows, I'd be like,
yeah,
okay. But like
and
Loki,
that's
it's like,
that's I didn't watch but I did watch the
Secret
first one, and I
Invasion.
think and I like I know what happens in the second season. I just didn't watch it yet, but I think from like what I've seen and what I've heard, I do that is kind of what I like about it is that it's separate from the rest of the MCU and even the comics in a way that like isn't really trying too hard to either be part of it or separate from it. Like it feels like they were just kind of like we're going to sit down and write a show and it's going to have Kang in it and it's going to have that stuff, but it's like we're going to focus on making this show solid before we put in Kang and before we put in all the other stuff. And I think that's what a lot of the other ones in this list kind of miss out on, which is like they're a little too excited to be like, oh, we got to put in the next story arc. We got to put in literally what we just said about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, we got to put in all these threads for the later stuff and then, like, kind of leave it hanging. Where Loki's like, we're going to do this. We're going to leave this thread, but we're going to make sure that it makes sense in the first place. And I think that's something that, most of these didn't do. So I'd be okay with S.
yeah,
It has a beginning, middle, and end.
yeah. And I was also gonna say it feels very complete story wise because I think it was the show that had the most time to actually like set up because you have to understand like even thinking about it they had to set this up all the way in Endgame literally with the Loki disappearing with with the space stone. Like they must have been ruminating and like actually plotting this story out a ways like ahead of the other shows, I would have to assume. So and just them plotting it out and like actually taking the time, you can feel it in the show.
I mean, with how important it is for the upcoming Kang storyline that was supposed to happen, like, it makes sense that they did probably think it out more than anything else because in the scheme of things, if you're a writer for fucking, I don't know, She-Hulk, you probably don't need to think that hard because they're not telling you that whatever you write is going to be the basis for the next 5 Avengers movies. You're just like, I'm going to do a She-Hulk thing and whatever. But if you're doing Loki and they're like, look, guys, this is going to matter. This is going to be the next Thanos. So you're going to probably sit there and be like, I need to make sure my stuff is together. You know, I'm gonna make sure it makes sense, at least a little bit.
Also,
Obviously,
they were able to balance the fact that like they killed off Loki in Infinity War, and it doesn't feel cheapened by the show, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
That like they were able to have their cake and eat it too, with like how well they made this version of
Which,
Loki.
looking at some of the other shows here, did not do that same exact problem, right, with some of the other characters they had.
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously, people cared a lot about Tom Hiddleston's Loki, going in, which helps. People love this actor playing this character, but also, you know, it exists um, using comic book characters, but we don't really know a lot about these comic book characters. The average person doesn't know a lot about Mobius. I barely knew anything about Mobius. The average person doesn't know anything about, most of these TVA characters. So it just allowed them to have so much more freedom to really just build interesting characters and just great, interactions with everyone involved.
Yeah. No, seriously.
And I mean, it really, like, this is a little bit like a slight tangent, but like back when they rebooted the whole Daredevil thing, when they're like, okay, we're wiping it clean and rewriting it, and we found out like they didn't have like
Foggy.
proper like producers or proper like story bibles or showrunners or anything. Like they weren't running, they were just kind of winging all of these shows. It made a lot of sense for a lot of these, and I feel like Loki is one of the few ones where it felt like they sort of wrote it like you're supposed to write a show, where they're like, we're going to plan out the story before we produce the show, as opposed to a lot of the other ones like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which just feel like, or even WandaVision, which just feel like kind of in the middle. They were like, actually, let's do this instead for an episode, and sort of just like change things in the middle. It's like one of the few ones that just feels like it started as a show, they produced it as a show, and we have a finished show now, instead of the other ones.
It's purposeful, yeah.
Yeah. And the only other show that at least feels like that's out of this entire lineup is Agatha for me personally. Wild that I'm saying that, but yeah. But anyway, let's get to What If.
See,
I really hate this show. I hate this show with a burning passion.
I like season 1.
I do like season 1, but the fact that like season 2 and 3 are so poor, and the fact that they end with the cliffhanger being like, hey, here's all the good stories we could have done, but hey, we're canceling the show.
Yeah.
They really had to put salt in the wound of being like, yeah, we know you wanted a 6-armed Spider-Man, and you wanted like a Ghost Rider Samurai, and you wanted.
And you actually wanted us to use the X-Men characters that we have the property, uses of.
Yeah.
That feels very much like well, you guys didn't like our show, so look at what you're missing. And it's like, we would have loved your show if that's what you led with.
Yeah.
Literally,
we would have liked it. And instead, you got too caught up with the whole like, oh, look, the episodes are blending together, which like
is not the point of What If.
Yeah, literally.
It also like retroactively makes the finale of season 1 so lame. Because what was so cool about that was the fact that like, okay, there's a problem big enough that like you need to sort of mess with the whole What If format a little bit. You need to sort of cross over and bring in this stuff.
This is a unique scenario.
This is a unique thing. And then season 2 and 3 is like, never mind, it's not unique. This is happening every fucking 12 seconds. Like,
yeah,
people
every
are
other week
breaking containment every time, and
you watch it, it's just like,
okay, so
hey, I gotta interfere real quick.
And I'm a big Ultron fan. I'm a big like, Ultron's my guy, and it sort of retroactively makes it lamer, where it was like, yeah, Ultron's like the one guy who could fuck shit up, and now it's like, no, never mind, fucking anyone can. Like, just anyone can just kind of get some shit and ruin everything.
And even like the good
fair.
versions of the characters that they made were like not used to their full potential. Like the Doctor, the evil Doctor Strange could have been used more. I feel like you said, the Ultron Vision combo could have been used more. Like if you were gonna go into like a whole episode of Ultron Vision and explore like the idea of him like philosophically like pondering his existence instead of it being halfway through like, hey, and also he sees the Watcher.
Yeah. Anthology shows are really hard, and I can think of two major examples where, and they're really hard because it's clear the writers just fall in love with one of the short stories, and then it stops being an anthology show. The other example I can think of was Stranger Things, where I don't know if you guys know it, but it was supposed to be every season was supposed to be a different story,
different town.
but they just liked the story they set up in season 1 too much, and now we have current Stranger Things, which is just kind of on too long. This is another example, I think, which is just, I know it sucks. I know even as writers, you want to be like, oh man, I wish I could just stay with these characters forever.
Bro,
but like, you got to know when
Captain
to just
Carter in the bag and let her go.
Yeah, just leave it. Just leave it. You don't every 10 seconds have to bring her back, because it just like it's less special.
Dead.
And it's less.
Don't say that. Don't you dare say that. You say
she's
that.
gonna show up in Doomsday.
There are 8 Captain Carters. There's like infinite universes of Captain Carters.
The fact that
that's what they're gonna do.
Up
we're gonna have
Multiverse
you know
of
what?
Madness is hilarious.
We're gonna have a Captain Carter show where she meets up with the other Captain Carters and have like in Avengers, but it's all Captain Carter, like all multiverse Captain Carter
with each other.
You know what's crazy to me though? Like the thing is, like they tease like the whole Hydra Stomper thing at the end of the first season, and then they follow it up, and then immediately she's like, "Yeah, so I'm never going to be back in my own universe again, because why would I want to be in an interesting universe and stay there?
Why would I do that?
Why would I be in an engaging story?
Why would I?"
Anyway, I think the first season's good. I think that there's some weak points in the first season, but I think the first season overall
honestly
is good.
The only thing like preventing me from putting it in trash right now is that first season.
Yeah, literally,
personally.
that's the reason why I don't want to put it in trash. But the other 2 seasons are so.
I know that's not what a tier list is, but if I were to recommend the show, I would just tell people to just end it after the first season. Just stop watching.
Yeah, I think you get the point of like what if very easily.
You get it, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm gonna go pick up some comics now, and then you go do that.
What do you? Yeah. So what are we thinking? C or D?
I think C. I can understand D. I just think that there's worse stuff than it, but I guess we do have to reserve the trash for true trash.
We can go back. We can move stuff around a little bit.
But you can leave it at D for now.
Yeah, if it isn't that bad, we can move it up.
So Hawkeye. I don't think this is as bad as I thought it was, honestly.
I liked it.
As an overall piece,
I kind of liked it. Look, I don't think it's like S or A.
Yeah,
I don't think it's S or A tier, but I enjoyed it.
I think it's better than Falcon, to be honest. I think it's significantly better than Falcon, actually.
Honestly, yeah, I agree. What? Partially because of what I said about Falcon is like I can remember more of the Hawkeye show, and not just because it's more recent, just because I just can think of what happens in it more.
I couldn't tell you much.
I mean, I actually like Echo's character in it also. Like, in that show, I like her development because she's actually, gets a storyline and an arc.
I think she's more interesting there than her own show.
Yeah, literally. but also, like, I actually do like a little bit of the Clint, and I do really like Kate and Clint's relationship. It's really cool. Like, their dynamic, and like, I mean, it really made Kate really personable, which is surprising because, let's be honest here, these shows aren't great at introducing new characters and making them like there aren't many characters from these shows where I'm like, man, I can't wait to see them next time.
Yeah.
Like Kate is an exception. Like, I'm actually excited to see Haley Steinfeld return as
Honestly,
Kate Bishop.
on that point, S tier casting. Like that's one of those that like she really like, for me at least, like not only like is really interesting and a really good version of that character, but like she's just really good, period. And I mean it makes sense, she's amazing actress, but like she's really good in a way that like I know people who have seen it and didn't know anything about the character whatsoever and were fans because of her and like started reading because she just played the character really well. And, you know,
Such a
great.
pleasure to act alongside her, to watch her work.
Okay, Shamik Moore, chill out.
One of the few actors out there, right next to Robert Downey Jr., playing two different Marvel characters.
But I do think she actually does like elevate the show, like
her
genuinely.
and Robert Downey Jr.
And I also will say I actually really like the stuff with Yelena also. Like the it really sets up the relationship between Kate and Yelena in a really interesting way. The only problem I really have with the show is how they handle Kingpin because he's like random. He feels very much shoved in a way that's, looking back at the time I was excited, and then the finale happened and I was not happy. Looking back, he should have just not been a part of the show, period. If anything.
Oh my god, yeah, and looking at Daredevil now, slight spoilers, but like not really, but like like just the what they did with him in that, and then Echo, and then in Daredevil now when they're talking to Kingpin, he's like, "Oh, I got beaten up by a vigilante." It's like, which one? You've been beaten up by like 6 now. It's really hard
Everyone's
to tell
fucking
what you're
throwing
talking
you
about.
around.
Yeah,
Man is
you
being
were
thrown like a rag doll.
Yeah, stabbed and shot and blown up and shot again, and then beaten up and then shot and then beaten up again. It's like I can't tell anymore. And oh my god, when
Wilson Fisk's very bad day. it's just
and then rumor has it he's gonna be like the new Thanos for like the like street level characters. Like when Spider-Man gets in there, Jesus Christ, he's not. It's gonna be just impossible to tell. Like
yeah,
if they have him fight Spider-Man.
But yeah, so I think this is a B for me.
I didn't like it as much as you guys did, obviously.
I like it more, especially in retrospect, in comparison to the other shows.
Yeah, I like it as B, partially again, kind of a similar reason to Loki, which is like you can just watch it on its own and get pretty much the gist of what's happening, and it's pretty decent on its own. You might not get the full weight of like when Kingpin shows up, but like it isn't something like Falcon and Winter Soldier where it's so like you need to watch at least 3 other things to really understand what's going on. Like you can just watch it as a show.
I wasn't as engaged.
Not
with the
necessarily an
characters.
amazing one, but decent enough that like it can stand on its own.
Yeah. No, I get that. I wasn't as engaged with the characters, and it just didn't have as much of a lasting impression on me. But I'm overruled, so I'll let it be for now. It's better than Cap is kind of rough for me, but let's move on.
Moon Knight.
This is an A for me.
Yeah, I think Moon Knight is.
I thought this one. Honestly, I thought we were gonna have more of a fight about that one. I think it's an A for me too. I thought
no, it's like I wasn't a huge fan of how mystical his power set was, but at the heart of the story, it's Mark and Steven are written so well. The DID system is portrayed well, which is so rare, period, within like any representation
Media
for like dissociative identity disorder and like trauma and like all these different things that the show's juggling. And then on top of that, the show is just gaslighting you near the end, making you think like, is it real? Is it real? And it's doing it well. Like it's doing it really well. And I do like the cliffhanger. I do like the Jake Lockley little cliffhanger where you're like, wait, what? And like Conchu's like, why would I give away Mark? He doesn't even know how unwell he is. Conchu's also great.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Yeah, I like how much of an asshole he is in it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he is a dick. And I like that
That's-
they didn't really pull back on, like, they didn't like try and make it like he's not Black Panther where like his gods are mostly nice and like cool about everything.
Bast. It's not Bast.
Yeah, he's not Bast who's like just trying to help him out all the time. It's like Khonshu really doesn't care that much about him if he can't help him.
Yeah.
Like if he isn't helping Khonshu, like if it's just like Mark's having a bad day, Khonshu's just like, I really couldn't care less. Go beat some people up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This show really sticks with me. The acting is fantastic from Oscar. The dialogue is great. Yeah, the only issue I have is just how big they make it, like the scale of the fight by the end.
Yeah,
But-
like the two titans in Egypt was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
a
I
little
like
much,
the street
but I
fight.
get it. But I get it, you know, like that's just kind of the Disney talking, but everything else I think is really well executed, you know. The action scenes are great. The camera work is fantastic, cutting between different personalities, you know, he's blacking in and out. That first episode I can still kind of recall it very, very well.
Yeah.
Just visually it's so striking.
Every time I wake up.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I like-
that song got stuck
Yeah, oh
in
my God.
so many people's heads.
I like the psych out they did at the end with the like blacking out at the end where you think there's going to be this big final fight and then he just blacks out and it's done. And I love that because it's almost a little bit making fun of that big Disney Marvel like big final fight of
And he
like-
just kills the guy.
yeah, he just kills the guy and it's just like, no, we don't need it always.
Oh wait, no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Which scene are
Wait,
we
which one
talking
are you
about?
thinking of?
Sorry, I was thinking of the final fight in Egypt, but no, he doesn't kill the guy because then he appears later as Jake Lockley.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
up.
yeah.
He does kill him then.
No, but like they just skip the that big final fight, and I like that sort of like, oh, you thought we were gonna pull another we did this big CGI fight and you thought there's gonna be another one. Nope, we're done here. I like that. That was funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall we agree that Moon Knight's good, right?
Yes.
Yep. Moon Knight good.
Okay.
Miss Marvel mid.
So, Miss Marvel. I think the first three
like
episodes of the
mid-Marvel.
show are really great. I do have a problem with the powers being changed just like everyone else, but the style in the first three episodes is so good that it made me be able to oversee it. And Iman Vellani is so good as Miss Marvel. Like,
I'm noticing a pattern here, at least with my opinion, of all of these shows, which is they all consistently get worse as they go on.
yeah,
Is that like they start out really strong and then they just start kind of like descending into the most formulaic, like, oh, villain shows up and
have a
then
big
we have
final
big
battle.
CGI battle and hero gives a nice speech about the way that they are so great and everyone needs to help everyone, and then we leave off in a this character will return in Avengers Endgame or whatever.
I
know?
don't even think that the last episode for the series is that bad. I think the episode that what really hurts the show in general is the whole like Djinn like enemies, like as enemies, like they don't explain like do they have super strength? They don't explain what
Yeah,
they
they don't
are.
really
They
even-
don't explain like
It doesn't really even fully make sense of them as enemies. It's just like, oh, so they got trapped here and they want to go home, but going home will also kind of kill everyone. But also they wanted to abuse our I don't know what you'd call it, dimensions
resources or whatever.
sources, but also they just kind of want to go home at this point, but we can't let them go home because we don't, and it just kind of became like, I don't know. I feel like there's a better solution than fighting them, but no one seems interested in it anymore. Everyone just kind of wants to punch each other.
And
now,
also
so,
like the fight scenes are really bad.
yeah.
Like the final fight scene's like a little bit better, but like it's pretty rough.
Oh, and then I just remembered, like, the guy she has a crush on is
the son
is a
of
djinn
the
because
mother.
he's the son of a djinn, so he's a djinn, which then goes
Red
into like
Dagger.
again, so they can be friends. Like they don't have to fight each other.
Yeah.
But so you've established now that you can be friends, but then no one does.
No one talks it out. And it
No one
feels
talks it
very
out.
obvious that they should have talked it out.
Yeah, and I would almost rather that guy didn't exist or like wasn't a djinn, because I would almost rather like don't even make me think that there's a chance they could talk it out. But now that I know that they're sort of into each other and they're the djinn and so now I know you can be friends. Like
Yeah.
I would almost rather something like I'm trying to think. I don't. There's not even any other similar example, but like, I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier. At least you knew like
Who
no
the
one wanted
enemy
to talk
was
shit out.
and like
Yeah, who the enemy was. You knew no one wanted to talk shit out, or like fucking WandaVision. It's like no one's gonna talk it out. Like Agatha's a witch, and Wanda is kind of crazy. Like we're not. There's no like middle ground of talking it out.
yeah.
I would almost rather not know that that's a possibility.
I think the show did better when it was one about the community, when it dealt with like just community stuff, and two when it dealt with damage control. That was way
Yeah.
more interesting to have damage control as the enemies. Like as soon as it's like the federal government trying to like detain people with powers, it's 10 times more interesting than
But you
the
know
Jin
what?
subplot.
That would be too far for Disney. Do you really want a plot where the federal government tries to document and detain Muslim citizens of New Jersey? Do you really want that? That's going a little far.
That's too political.
What you
But
know
that's the
what?
funny thing, they
You know
do
what
at the
isn't
final
far?
episode regardless, so it's like
Weird
just commit to
dimension
it.
aliens.
Yeah,
Weird magic dimension aliens. That's not too far.
That's
we can
fine.
go in to the whole India and Pakistan thing. We can go back in time and see that whole thing, but we can't talk about like the ending fight has to be against weird dimension aliens, because we can't keep our our deep morals in here. Like
yeah. As we're talking about it, I'm remembering more, but um,
yeah,
what really left an impression on me in this show was just the actual human, characters, was the dialogue, was all those kind of parts,
Bruno was cool. Like the
Yeah.
casting for this show was good. The actors in the
yeah.
show, like the mom and the dad and the brother, are phenomenal. Like I love all the dialogues with the family are really great.
And it felt like, and this, maybe doesn't mean as much to people in other places, but being from New Jersey, being fucking half an hour from Jersey City, like it feels like what it would fucking be like. Like a lot of these other shows sometimes don't like.
Copy and paste New York.
Hawkeye takes place in New York, but you could not for a second like think that it's a real, like there's like real New York and there's like movie New York.
New York.
And for a second I couldn't be like, well, I could see that happening on so and so street. But Miss Marvel, for what it's worth, I can be like, well, I could see this kind of happening. Like I could see where these families would sort of live and how this could sort of come to happen, the way that they just exist in the world. It feels like a real, like they're real people.
Yeah. The show does a really great job with the characters. It's just the plot that holds it back. So, and I really do also like the stylization of like the text, and like whenever like they're like whenever they have a moment to do art stuff, like it's really cool. Like when like
I normally hate
when
that,
Kamala's
like,
like
oh my god, it's the
drawing,
internet.
it's so cute and like
I normally hate that, like, oh my god, it's the internet. We're gonna throw in LOLs everywhere, and that does it really good, where it like feels like something that a teenager would make.
it's because her character doesn't just isn't different. Like the graphics don't feel like it's not coming from the character. It feels like it's literally coming from the character, because she literally talks that way, she literally acts that way, so it feels way more genuine than I feel like in other shows or movies where it'll just have the character be like texting stuff that they wouldn't say as a character.
I would say upper B.
Yeah,
I
I'd say B.
I
I
think
think it's stronger than Hawkeye characters, personally.
I think it's lower B for me personally, like lowest B, just because the Jin stuff does hurt it quite a bit. What do you guys
Honestly,
think?
for me,
It's
it's
got to
like
be higher than
solidly B.
something else.
For me, it's definitely in B.
Yeah, I think we agree on
I
that.
think higher than Falcon and Winter Soldier, honestly, because
At
again, like,
least.
for me at least, Falcon and Winter Soldier, as good as certain moments were, and as good, I can't think of like a style or like a like
You don't remember them
Hawkeye.
looping the Baron Zemo
Very
dance
generic.
scene for like 11 hours and posting that? You don't remember that,
I
man?
mean, that's the social media guys. That's the interns' good work, not the the show creator. Like
Also, I love how
all
none of
these
us
other show
mentioned
Loki.
Baron Zemo. I was gonna see how long,
Yeah,
in case you got, like, I
No,
remembered him, but I was just
I did
waiting
think
to
of
see if
it.
anyone was gonna mention that he was even in the show, and no
No, no,
one
no.
did.
no, I
I
think he
did
was one of
think
the
of
better
it.
parts of the show.
Yeah, he was, but that's funny that no
I
one
think
mentioned him still.
I
I
think
did think of it, but I did
I
not
think I
mention
mentioned
it.
him in passing, but even then, now that I think about it, I didn't even like say whether it was good or bad. I just kind of said like, "Oh, the Baron Zemo
I
plot."
thought
Like,
he was
I love,
silly.
I love when he's like, Marvin Gaye is the most integral.
yeah,
He's like schooling Bucky
I
on
think
the plastic
he's such a great character.
It is a masterpiece, James. Complete, comprehensive. It captures the African American experience.
He's out of line, but he's right.
He's such a great character because he's like,
Man, it's so funny.
I think he's one that they could easily bring back and people will love, not just because of like him dancing meme and stuff, but I think the reason why
The
people
actor's
like it
really
is that
good.
the character's really good. He's a little bit like Thanos in that, like, yeah, he's a villain, but he seems kind of fun to hang out with sometimes. Like, if he wasn't trying to kill
I don't know
you.
about that with Thanos, my guy.
No, but that's what people are saying. People were saying, especially
I wouldn't want to
after,
crack a cold one with Thanos.
yeah, well, especially after Endgame, like when Thanos was just kind of chilling for the first part. People were saying that. People were like, he doesn't seem that bad when he's not trying to kill everyone. Like, he seemed kind of chill, and I feel like the same thing with Baron Zemo was like, when he's not trying to kill everyone, which is kind of a low, like, kind of like he's usually trying to kill everyone, but when he's not trying to, like, not horrible.
Also, we forgot about Sharon. Also, which was another
Oh.
subplot that they just completely
Bad
fucked
show.
up.
We're almost at an hour. Let's
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on.
Okay. She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. So the thing is with this show that I think fucking kneecapped it. They shouldn't have fucking revealed Daredevil. Because it made it so that everyone was going, okay, but when's the Daredevil episode?
Oh, yeah, that's what you mean. Like, yeah, I think it should have been a surprise.
It should have been a
I
full
think-
surprise because then it would have actually built people into the expectation of, oh, this is a case of the week show, and people would
Well, I
have
think
taken it
also-
way less serious than they did.
They I think also that they didn't really emphasize the fact that it was supposed to be a comedy.
Yes, that also.
They treated it like any other Marvel show. And when you look at stuff like the legal scenes, which are, oh my god, look, I don't know shit about the law, but that was painful even for me, for them to be like, Your Honor, I just texted you some evidence, and you're like, this isn't how any courtroom should work. This. Are you kidding me? And it's like a lot of stuff that was really dumb and really stupid. Had they just been upfront and been like, yeah, this is a comedy. We're kind of making fun of ourselves and like comic book stuff for a little bit. I feel like people would have given it a little bit more of a chance than they did.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, it wasn't even it was more the marketing's fault than like even the show.
Yeah.
But also, like, yeah, the show should have just fully committed to it. Like, I really like the moments where it's like, where Jennifer's like fourth wall breaking and talking to the camera. Like, that's fun. The finale's
Yeah.
fun. I like.
I mean, and then
I like that.
like looking at the cast, they made it like a comedy show. Looking at the cast, they have the fucking lady from I Think You Should Leave.
They have the lady from Good Place playing.
Yeah,
playing,
from Good Place. I think you should leave.
Prometheus
Like
from Arrow.
Yeah.
her friend who's like getting married, right?
Yeah, something.
Is the I think you should, like, she's
Yeah,
like
the
she got
awkward
trapped
lady.
in the fucking Charlie Brown balloon. is the I think you should leave skit.
Yeah.
Like, she's a great comedian. They have all these like great comedians and stuff, and then they just kind of, even in some of the writing, they were kind of like, but we're still gonna try and make it like a serious superhero show. And it's like, why?
Like, I think the best bits for me personally were the moments where it just fully went, you know what? These superpowers are absurd. Let's just make this a bit. Like Mr. Immortal was really funny to me. Like
Yeah.
like using his death powers to just fake dying and it just to avoid getting a
Yeah.
divorce is like, because let's be honest here, no one's fucking making a show. He's not going to be appearing as a character anytime soon. Let's be legit
No.
here. Like I know that like the one Mr. Immortal fanboy is going crazy, screaming, like pounding his head into his hands into the dirt. But like,
No.
bro, this is literally like at least they didn't massacre your boy completely.
Yeah.
Like this
It's
is
better than you would have got if the show didn't exist. People just wouldn't know that Mr. Immortal exists. Like,
yeah, like it's, I don't know. It's just, I think it's fun. I really like Leapfrog also. That was fun.
oh yeah, that was
Like-
good. I think that it was also some good chances to do some stuff that people wanted, but like there's no easy way to put the yellow Daredevil suit in the actual Daredevil show. It just would look too goofy for the tone that show's going for. So do it in a show like this where it matters a little bit less, but you still get to see him jumping around and punching people with it.
Also,
Like,
him walk of shame
Oh, yeah.
was really funny
yeah,
after.
that's good.
Um,
It's a good way to get those inside jokes of like Matt being a man slut
yeah, literally.
that everyone knows, and get those and be like, yeah, we know.
But I will say, I do wish the
Say
visual effects were better.
See?
You can tell that the visual effects artists were
Oh yeah.
overworked
They were-
to fucking hell and back. Especially because I think especially in the first episode, it's really noticeable because of how good the Hulk model is in comparison to She-Hulk, because it's just ripped
Yeah.
from Endgame. So yeah, it's
I don't know, like it works really well as a case of the week thing, like you said, but a lot of Jen's dialogue I'd find myself not liking. But yeah, to have the character inclusions we did was really fun. Like that retreat with all the villains I thought was fun.
that was great.
What was it?
Wait,
Ursa Major. Wait,
Porcupine.
yeah, Ursa Major was in there, right?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was like literally
he
dressed up as
was,
a
yeah.
bear, like, and they were like telling him to like take a shower because he hadn't taken off the bear suit in like, I think it was like
Or was
a
that
year.
Grizzly?
Maybe it's Grizzly, but either way, that's
I don't
like
think they had
funny.
Russian.
Either way, like some random
Yeah.
ass C tier bear themed villain. Like,
Also making Abomination a pacifist and just making him basically like the equivalent of like an alt-right like role model
Yeah.
was like funny.
again, all 7 Abomination fans were probably so pissed off. But like, what are you gonna do with Abomination in the MCU? Like, seriously now,
Bro,
What are you
trust me,
gonna do
after
with
seeing
this guy?
how they treated Leader, my guy, I
Yeah,
think
like-
this is the better treatment.
Yeah, like
All right,
Like, dude.
Titania.
what are you gonna do with him? They're not doing Hulk movies anymore. So what, you want Abomination to show up and get his ass kicked in the next, like, in the fucking Ironheart movie or whatever? Like,
Yeah, Titania, Leapfrog, El Aguila, which was crazy. Oh, Man Bull. That's right, Man Bull.
No, it's just like taking characters that like would have never seen the
Porcupine.
light of day.
No, it
Yeah.
was Porcupine didn't want to leave his suit. That's what it
you're
was.
right.
I hope
Yeah.
they do another season. They get like Stiltman in there. Oh, Big Wheel. I hope we get
I
Big
honestly
Wheel.
think this is the show that I think should get another season. I think people are way too angry at it. Like, I don't think it's like
Yeah.
the best show ever, but I don't think it's setting itself out to be that. It's setting itself out to be a fucking comedy, and people took it way too serious.
Honestly,
People were looking at this for world building when really they should have just been looking at this as like its own.
yeah, it was just like, and honestly, I feel like a lot of these shows should have been that. It kind of also was done a disservice because of the other shows, because they established WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and all that other stuff. They're like, we're doing one season and then into a movie, so people just assumed She-Hulk was going to be the same thing. Where it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's like.
This should be a show.
It was, and it's more like Moon Knight, where it's just its own thing. not trying to be part of a movie. It's not trying to be anything. It's just its own thing for you to watch, and maybe they'll reference a movie or something.
And maybe
Like,
they'll get referenced in the movie later down the line. Like that's fine. Or like even show up. Like you don't need everything
just
to
don't
be
take it as
in a
seriously.
film. Yeah. But overall, I think this is still a C, even though I have been preaching.
I'd say C.
It's even though I have been preaching, I still think it's a C. It's not great. There are actual weak points with it. It's just
I think
people
personally, I think it's just because
exaggerate.
I'm assuming the like popular opinion is that it automatically should go in trash tier, and I really don't think it should.
No.
I think it's very much watchable. It's not my first recommendation of the MCU shows.
Also, Megan
but
Thee
if someone's
Stallion's
like,
funny.
yeah, but if someone's like, hey, I was kind of thinking
Well,
of
actually,
She-Hulk, yes or no, and then I'd just be like, yeah, go for it, whatever.
it's actually only in C because there's not enough Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah,
Let's
you
be
know what?
honest.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
People freaked out because she was in the show, and it's like, bro, it's just having fun, my guy. Chill out.
Yeah,
like it's not that deep.
Whatever. Yeah. Speaking of not that deep,
Oh my god.
Secret War. I shouldn't say that. I never watched it, and I try
can't-
not to.
You have not suffered like we have.
I
Shut the
try
fuck
not to
up.
like complain about stuff I haven't watched.
D
But
or trash?
Yeah, I think
I've
this
seen
is-
some
this is-
clips, and that was already
straight trash.
Yeah.
Well, wait, but here's the question though: what's worse, that or Echo? Because I feel like Echo's worse.
So I did watch Echo, and it was boring but not offensive in my opinion. So
Well,
like for me,
Secret
the
Invasion's worse.
way I'm going into this, trash
Secret
tier is
Invasion's
like
worse.
actively offensive.
Yeah, I agree
To
with
my
that.
like again, what if it were not for the first season,
would be in
the other
trash.
seasons are actively offensive to me. Like I'm like
Yeah.
Marvel owes me.
Echo
a couple
was
hours.
shot before it could run. Like Echo,
Yeah.
Echo could have maybe been something. Secret Invasion is something that off the bat should have been good and should have been an easy slam dunk to make into a movie, and they just kept fucking it up. They made it into a show. They didn't bring anyone else into it. They kept on like, oh god, it's just
So I have a question that I saw
God.
shamelessly stealing from fucking what is it? I think it was Mr. Sunday Movies.
I love
so
Mr. Sunday movies.
Yeah, I saw a clip from Secret War where Emilia Clarke, like
Keep saying Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
Secret
No, it's not
Invasion.
Secret Wars. It's Secret Invasion. I do keep saying Secret Wars. Oh,
Too many
I hate
secrets.
that. I do that shit with the comic too.
Secret Empire.
She like gets like a Drax arm
Yeah.
and punches this guy.
It's bad.
Drax's like scar tattoo things. So that's just like part of his body now?
I don't know, man.
Because they showed up and they asked that question too, and I'm like,
is that genetically correct?
is that genetically? Because like,
It doesn't-
if
probably
you have
not.
someone's DNA, do you get their tattoo too? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Probably
That's
not,
genetic. So I guess that's just part of it.
I don't know. I'm putting in as much thought as they did, which is none. So
Yeah, I don't know that show. Like, I've seen clips, like scattered. I've done the like TikTok watch of that show where I just watch that show in like random 30-second clips out of order,
I haven't.
and I cannot for the life of me. Again, it might be because I was like TikTok watching it, but I don't know what the fuck the plot
The
is.
show started off decent. That's the worst part. Is like the first episode, it's like okay, and then every episode it just got worse. It was like, oh, Maria Hill dead. Oh, this character dead. Oh, here's this plot point gone. It's like,
Yeah.
and then it's like it's like let's have a whole 10-minute scene where Nick Fury questions about why he's fucking his Skrull wife.
That was probably the best part of the whole thing.
True.
was just that.
The fact that that's the best
It
part
sounds
though.
insane out of context.
But the fact
It
that that's the
sounds
best
insane.
part is
I actually
crazy.
think the best part was questioning fucking his alien wife. I think that was the best part.
Yeah.
And then at the
No,
end,
but
it
the-
doesn't even tie into the Marvels because it's just like he goes into space and then it's just like, "Where's your wife, my guy?"
Well, what's worse is that Captain Marvel had already happened at this point. So this should be a sword building, show, and it's not.
Yeah.
This is just dropping Nick Fury off on Earth and just fucking
They also,
around.
I'm trying to think.
And he
didn't
keeps on
they
saying
also-
how bad of a spy he is, and it's like, bro, you're motherfucking Nick Fury. Shut the
I'm
fuck
trying
up.
to think. They teased Sword.
He's old
in,
now.
They teased Sword in Spider-Man. They teased Sword in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
It's supposed to be this big thing.
Yeah, and I seriously thought it was going to be the next, like, it was going to be a major thing, like the whole Shield and Hydra thing was, or like he was going to be an important part of the Kang whatever saga, and it to from my point of view, again, not having watched Secret Invasion, like it seems to me like they just kind of dropped it. Like they built it so much up in the other shows, and then it's like Sword doesn't.
Also,
Sword was kind of in this one show.
Emilia Clarke's character is walking around with everyone's powers. That's just a plot thread that's hanging.
Is that not supposed to be like a
After-
Super Scroll type thing?
She's literally a Super Skrull that has everyone's powers.
Yeah.
Everyone's power. Like, bro, that like it'd be different if you were like, okay, they have like 2 or 3 abilities. No, we have all the Avengers abilities here. It's like
that
the
that sounds to
fuck?
me like a character.
can't write-
Knowing nothing about the show, that sounds to me like a character that should have just been tossed into the Thunderbolts lineup.
you should have been like that.
That they should have just been like, let's just throw her in Thunderbolts and then
have her
that
fight
way
against
we'll
Sentry
see
and
something.
die. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your solution there, because like she ain't gonna die any other way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after all 6 episodes, have the social media whatever reveal afterwards that Rhodey was replaced in fucking
Yeah,
Civil
I did
War or
see
Yeah,
whatever.
they had to explain after being like, "Hey guys,"
That's how you know
So-
you fucked up.
and
bro.
also
And that was-
it's just set up for Armor Wars, which is still not happening. So it's like, for Don Cheadle, bro, just getting pulled along for another shitty show at the promise of his own project consistently.
All right, Echo.
Yeah, Echo is, I think, D.
I would say D, because it wasn't,
Yeah.
like I said before, it wasn't offensive, but it was just boring.
It
and
actually
slow.
tries at certain parts. Like, it actually tries
Yeah.
with the Native American history. Like, it does actually put effort, but the thing is, you can tell how little of a budget they were given and how quickly they were kneecapped.
And it tries to do some interesting things with a character that, in my opinion, is kind of boring in the comics. Just kind of a generic, like, ninja assassin type person. And they try and do a little bit more with, like, her, like, power and her culture and her personality, and just, like, try to make her a little bit more of a character than just, like, comic book stereotype cool assassin person.
I don't know.
Doesn't
I
work
really like
super
her-
well, but I give
her
him props
character.
for trying.
But the finale in this instance really just ruins the whole show for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those just terrible finales that they have in this.
No,
It's like the opposite of
worst.
WandaVision.
It's I genuinely actually I think the finale's worse than Secret Invasion's finale, straight up, which is
I
wild.
think
to
it's
say.
the worst finale in all of these shows.
Just because it
Yeah,
just
and there's some
randomly
bad
forces
ones in
Echo to
there.
have powers, and then she just beats Kingpin by putting her hands to his head, and then he feels a little bit guilty. I don't know why he
Yeah.
put on the Western accent there. I don't know.
Well, not guilty. He just relives his parents beating him or whatever, right?
Something along
It gives
those
me
lines.
throwbacks to, like,
No, his parents are arguing.
the original animated X-Men, where Xavier just makes Magneto
Yeah.
relive the Holocaust. You know that? Where it's
No,
just like...
no, you know
it's
what
just
it is?
like, Fuck
Yeah.
you, relive the... That's exactly, fuck you,
Yeah.
Kingpin, relive your abuse.
Yeah.
No.
exactly.
She just put in like 50,000 terabytes of just like Hatsune Miku into his head. And so he's just like,
Yeah.
ah. He's like
No, he just made
screaming.
Kingpin remember Nyan Cat. That's what it was.
He just made him watch all of Secret Invasion.
That was that.
She just
made-
uploaded it directly to his brain and was like,
Every episode played it once.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Right.
rough.
Agatha.
Agatha. I think it's the best out of
I-
all the A's.
I didn't watch that one.
Oh, bro, you're missing out.
Okay.
Straight up.
I think it's
Really?
A.
I think
Really?
it's the practical sets are phenomenal. It made me care about characters that
Purely
you
from,
really
like-
shouldn't give a fuck about.
Yeah, purely from like the way they were advertising it and the way that people were talking about it and the way that they were talking about it and how it was made, I really thought it was gonna be another like
I
D tier or trash tier. Like they just
Yeah.
like put no effort in
when I heard
to
this,
do anything but
I genuinely thought this would be worse than Echo and worse than Secret Invasion. I had literally no hope for this show. In the first episode, I was still like, okay, this is cool, but it's not great. And then it just hits the ground running after episode 2. It's just like episode 2 onward. It's just nonstop. It's great. You get character beats. You get more world building about magic and witches. You get interesting stuff with who later, the character, the boy, who later gets revealed to be Wiccan. And you just get so much stuff, and it's so interesting, and it makes WandaVision feel more complete. And it makes Agatha a character who we know is a villain, stay a villain. Which nowadays the downside of Killmonger as a character is that it made Marvel go, oh, so we should make every character just an anti-hero. Basically, instead of just making some of them just straight up villains. And I like that Agatha is just a straight up villain, and she stays that way the entire fucking show.
She's torn, but she's still a villain. But she has her conflict with self. She has her self conflict.
Yeah, it's.
I'm also realizing, tangent here, that Friendly Neighborhood and X-Men 97 aren't on here because What If is.
I was also gonna say I don't know if it even counts as a show.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but I am a big fan of Werewolf by Night, and I don't see that shit on here.
Sure.
well, that's a
I don't know if it counts as a show. It's like a special or whatever.
special presentation, quote unquote.
But I just
I'm
noticed
a
that
big
What If
fan
was
of that.
here, not the other animated stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
But Werewolf is great.
yeah.
This, I mean, depending on when this, did you make this one?
No, I didn't make this
Lucas?
one.
Okay, yeah. So depending on when it was made, it just
I mean, it's
Probably.
updated
Those
to
are the only-
they
2025.
didn't exist.
So,
Oh, well, they fucked up.
well, I mean, it is, to be
Those are the
fair, it
only
is the
two.
quote unquote like canon Marvel shows.
Well, they just said live action only. Wait, look, it says live action only. Go to the top. Stupid.
live
You had
action
fucking
only.
What If, dummy.
Yeah. Is What If can? I don't think What If is canon either.
No.
No,
Whatever.
what if it's
That's the whole
technically
point of
canon?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying they said live action.
Whatever. I would say 97's S tier for me. Just kind of
Yeah, I
winging
think
it
I think
right
it's
here.
A.
I think it's A. I don't think it's S.
A?
I think the animation. So my problem with X-Men 97 is it moves a little bit too fast. It doesn't give some breathing room to some plot beats that really should like last. Like I
Yeah.
think the first season of X-Men 97 should have ended with the Genosha massacre. Like if you
Yeah,
ended
agreed.
with that, people would be
Yeah, that would've
fucking
been-
in their seats for the next season. Like people would have been like if you ended with the whole Gambit dies and all the X-Men are trying to save people and Magneto dies and everyone else looks like they're dead and Emma looks like she's dead. And literally all those characters, Madeline Pryor's killed off, and like you gave more time for like literally Inferno. Like it would have made the show just so much more of like wow.
That's true.
It jumped. It did move really fucking fast, and I don't know why, because I thought we were already guaranteed multiple seasons from the start.
Yeah.
So it's a little strange that they were trying to cover that much ground that fast.
I think, and I had rewatched not all, but some of the original X-Men show. I think it might be partially because of that. Because the original show was very much like, okay, every episode or every couple episodes
Is a
is
whole
just going to
arc.
be a whole arc. It's just pretty much just a comic book.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what they did for a lot of both the original and 97, where they're like, this is a comic book. We're just going to adapt that straight to a half an hour long, just visual thing.
That's fair.
And so I think they maybe, for better or for worse, they kind of kept with that. In the original show, it's very much like, yeah, 2 episodes is a whole arc. That's it. You're getting a whole comic arc. going on, because in the books they were like only two or three books, so we're just going to do the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Where, as we said in our Invincible video, sometimes making a show is a good chance to kind of go back and fix some of the issues with the comic or some of the
giving
pacing
some
stuff.
breathing room, like
Yeah, so I definitely get that criticism,
maybe
but
not including the
personally,
Rogue and
I didn't
Magneto.
mind it as much. Yeah, personally, I didn't mind it as much, maybe because I saw the original. But then again, that was also built in a different environment where that was meant for like a weekly TV show format instead of like just streaming. It can be however long you want it to be.
Right. I think it's a strong A.
Yeah.
And I also think Friendly Neighborhood's a strong A, personally.
Yeah. I think both of those are A.
But anyway, that's our long-ass tier list video.
Yeah.
I'm
It'll
stopping
probably
it
be
here 'cause
shorter
I'm
if we
tired
cut
of
out
shit.
Comment down below what your favorite Marvel show is, whether it be the Disney Plus shows or the other stuff like Cloak and Dagger and Runaways. I know there ain't no Cloak and Dagger fans.
Where are my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans?
Yeah, that's really
Where are my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans?
yeah. You guys
Where
got
am
really
I?
shafted.
There are dozens of us.
You say us.
There are
Where-
I
dozens
will say
of
I
us.
really do like the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I really like their Inhumans arc.
You know what? I don't care. You can cancel me for this. I like them all. I liked all the seasons. You can
Of
cancel
what?
me for that.
Of what?
Of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wow, that's
I like
crazy.
them all. I don't
That's
think
wild.
that they were the best TV ever, but I enjoyed them.
It was good.
And you know what? You can cancel me for that. I don't even care. You can
He's taking a mighty stance, guys.
I'm taking a stand.
He's taking a stance.
I like
He's
Agents of
fighting
S.H.I.E.L.D.
against the
I like it.
the
All
woke
my
agenda.
Spidey and his amazing friends fans, comment below.
Anyway,
Spidey, not Spider-Man and his what's the
we all know what the best show is.
But you
It's
mean the- you
Spectacular
mean the, like-
Spider-Man, guys. Come on.
You mean the one with like the little kid one?
the little kid one, the new one.
Yeah, the little kid one
Yeah,
with
Spidey and
what
his
is his
amazing
name?
friends.
Like Backflip or something? What did they rename Miles?
Oh, not Spider Bite. Well, Kid Arachnid was not in that. If you're thinking of Kid
the other one?
Arachnid, that's from
Ultimate Spider-Man. The TV
No, I'm
show.
thinking of the new one where
Yeah.
they're like little like
Yeah. Did they rename Miles in that?
I don't.
yeah,
know, man.
because
I don't
they're
watch
like,
that
oh,
show.
you're. I did actually.
I don't watch
like,
no dumb kid shows.
Me and me
I
Oh
and
shit, Moon Girl. I never watched.
Oh
Moon
yeah, me
Girl.
neither.
I was
I
kinda
never did
curious
watch
about
Moon
that.
Girl.
oh yeah, I actually heard that one was pretty good.
Yeah, I heard the
Yeah.
animation style for that was really good.
I
It looked good.
Dang, I
Gotta
forgot.
watch.
Anyway, comment down below and remember
Comment down below what Khonshu whispers to you at night.
Yeah.
remember to
What
like,
do you
subscribe.
think? What do you think Conchu asked Lucas to do while we
Me,
blacked out?
me
Comment
when I
that.
try to do the outro and everyone keeps interrupting me. Fucking hell. I'm trying to end this.
Comment below what you guys think we should tell you
Type
guys
below.
to comment
You should
below
really
next
end
time.
it. We should really like just cut the entire video in the middle of Lucas's sentence.
Like and subscribe, support your local comic shop, and read
Like
comics.
and subscribe.
Bye.